everybody, welcome to another edition of In the Kitchen with Lisa. I'm personal chef Lisa Spampinato, and today I'm going to show you a great recipe for Mother's Day that's so easy, the kids and dad can do it. But first, before we get started and tell you what we're going to make, I just want to say welcome and thank you to our newest sponsor, Starlet and Walt McGaskey from Prime Cuts over on Horton Road in Jackson. So thank you and welcome to JTV. The recipe we're going to be making today is called stuffed French toast, and we're going to be stuffing it with some cream cheese and some strawberry filling. It's super easy, so maybe the night before Mother's Day somebody can sneak mom out and kids and dad can get in the kitchen and make this in advance. First thing we're going to use is what's called Texas toast, and you can just get this in the regular grocery store. And you want about 12 to 14 slices depending on how big your pan is. The next ingredient is cream cheese, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we've got some canned strawberry pie filling. You can use cherry, you can use blueberry, apple, peach, whatever flavor you like. I know that some people here like strawberry, so I chose strawberry for this. If you want to use the fresh strawberries, you can, but you know what? You're really not going to have a lot of time if you're going to surprise mom. So is this healthy? No. Is it delicious? Yeah. So sometimes it's worth it to splurge a little bit and go the easy route. Then we're going to use some milk. I've got a dozen eggs in here and some maple syrup, and my secret ingredient for this is vanilla. The recipe doesn't normally call for it, but I love a touch of vanilla in everything, especially breakfast foods. So let's get started. I've already pre-cut up some of the bread, and I'm going to show you how we're going to prepare it. You want to cut all the crusts off, and I don't know if you can see, Texas toast is so named because it's so big and thick. So I've got some already crusted, and I'm gonna show you how to really easy just cut off some of the rest of the crust. You wanna make sure you're using a serrated bread knife because that's what's gonna help you not squish the bread. It's gonna cut right through. And you just wanna trim off those crust pieces. Don't necessarily throw out all the crust because I wanna save some of it to make a design on the top, and I'll show you how to do that later. Okay, so once I've got that crust trimmed off, got a few more here. Let's just do these quick. And you know, you can let your bread sit out for a little bit, maybe an hour before you're ready to make this, if you can hide it from mom. Just to kind of let that bread get a little dry. It'll absorb the liquid a lot better later on when it's baking. Okay. So I've stacked up my bread, I've cut off the crust, and you want to cut these into 1-inch cubes. So just going right down. You get about 4 rows that way, or 1/2-inch cubes. I don't know, did I say 1 inch or 1/2 inch? 1/2-inch cubes. And again, because I'm using that serrated knife, it's helping me to not really squish that bread. It's not pressing down on it, it's just kind of gliding right through it like a saw, which is what you want. Now the pan I'm using is I've got a tin pan here, a foil pan, disposable, because I use a lot of them in my business. And this is a pretty big recipe. There's a lot to it. So this will feed easily about 8 to 10 people because it's pretty deep. And the pan size is 13 by 11 by 2. The recipe calls for a 13 by 9 by 2. So just keep that in mind. So I've got 12 eggs in here. I've already broken them up and put them in here so you don't have to watch me do that. And I'm going to go ahead and break those yolks with my whisk and just kind of whisk them up a little bit. I don't need to fully break them down yet. I just want to get them a little open. I'm going to add 2 cups of milk to that. And then to that, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of maple syrup. And if you want to use a flavored maple syrup, that would be delicious too, I'm sure. So it's really, you know, it's whatever you like. That's 1/4 cup there. And one more will give us 1/2 cup. Okay. Then I want to go ahead and add a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And when I use vanilla, I use the good stuff. I use the pure vanilla extract. It's a little bit more expensive, but it definitely makes a difference. It smells so good. Love that smell. Okay, 1 tablespoon. In you go. And that's it. And that's basically going to become like a custard almost once this bakes off. So now I want to really whisk this and incorporate it together well and make sure that all the egg yolks are nice and smooth and blended well with the milk and the syrup and the vanilla. Okay, and that looks pretty good to me. And my arm's getting kind of tired, so. Okay, let me put this off to the side and show you how we're gonna get started putting together this stuffed French toast. Okay, I've got another empty tin here. I'm gonna take half of my breadcrumbs and place them on the bottom of the pan so that they fully cover it. And you can just kind of spread them out, so if you see any little holes, just kind of fill them in there. Okay. We're going to guesstimate that that's about half of the breadcrumbs. Okay, now here you see I've got a huge plate full of cream cheese. This is 2 full packages of cream cheese, so it's 16 ounces, 8 ounces, and 8 ounces. And I've cut it into cubes so that it's easier for me to dollop all over the top of this. And I know it's a lot of cream cheese, but it's so worth it. So you're just gonna take it, and sometimes you have to separate it with your fingers. This is the messy part, so I'm sure the kids will love doing this. And dot the whole top of the bread cubes with the cream cheese. And it's sticking to my hands. And this is why you want to make sure you wash your hands before you cook as well, because you're touching food. Okay, so I've got all of that cream cheese spread out. I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but I know there's a lot of cream cheese on there. I'm telling you, so worth it. Okay, now comes the really yummy but bad part, the pie filling. Okay, so I've got the pre-made pie filling. You're just gonna let it ooze out on top of that. And again, you could make this yourself with some water and some sugar, make a simple syrup, and let the strawberries or cherries or whatever fruit you're using cook down in it, but it's gonna take you a while. So you know what, sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel for something like this. So you wanna go ahead and spread that filling all over the top like that. Okay, just kind of smooth it out. Make sure you get something in every little nook and cranny. And that looks pretty good as well. Then you're gonna go ahead and cover the top again with the rest of those bread cubes that you cut up earlier. Whoop, one got away. And again, you wanna try and make sure there aren't too many spaces. I know you can't wait to see what this is gonna look like, but trust me, it's gonna look beautiful, and Mom is gonna be so impressed. And you will have an easy Mother's Day breakfast. Okay, so now that's done. Then you want to go ahead and take your egg mixture that you put together before. Let me give it another little whisk. You're going to go ahead and pour, whoops, running off the side. Pour your egg mixture slowly so that it doesn't run off the side like it just did to me. And if you see it starting to well up on the sides and you think you're going to run out of room, what you can do is take like a cake pick, or I use a chopstick, just start to poke some holes in there, and that's going to allow that egg mixture to get down in there and give you some more room to pour some more. I know it doesn't look like it's going to fit, but it will. You just have to be patient. You want to try and cover all of the bread cubes so that they really get saturated. Couple more holes in there just to really let that get down. And you'll see the bread that was drier will really absorb that egg mixture pretty quick. If you can't find Texas toast, you can use something like, I don't know, egg bread, something that's going to be really absorbent. You can even break up some croissants. That would be a really nice change for this recipe. Maybe a nice brioche. You could use a whole wheat. It's going to change the texture a little bit, but I'm sure it would be just as delicious. All right, that looks pretty good. Now with the crusts that I saved from before, I'm just going to take them and lay them across and make a pretty little design. And you don't have to do this, I just thought it looked kind of nice. Okay, put one there, put one there, put one there, okay. A little bit more egg just to coat it. Now at this point, if you've made this the night before, you can go ahead and cover this with some saran wrap and some foil and put it in your fridge and let it sit overnight. That's fine. It won't hurt it at all. Actually, they recommend it. I usually am very impatient and just put it right in the oven. But if you are gonna make it overnight, make sure you let it sit out at room temperature for about 30 minutes before you put it in your oven. So this is gonna go into a 350-degree preheated oven. You're gonna cover it with foil if you're gonna bake it off right away, and let it cook for about 30 to 45 minutes. Remove the foil and then let it go for another, I don't know, maybe 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how quickly it'll brown on top. And you'll see it puff up and then it'll sink. So I've got one already done. Let me get this in my oven and get the other one out and show you how beautiful it looks. So I've gotten that beautiful stuffed French toast out of the oven. I don't know, I hope you guys can see how pretty that looks. It baked up, it puffed up, and then it did drop again, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of decorate it a little bit with some powdered sugar, just to make it look pretty. You don't have to do this, but it does look really nice, just like French toast. And then I'm gonna garnish with some fresh berries. I've left some of the leaves on, the nicer ones, just because it looks so pretty. And you can cut up some plain ones. I've cored some of these, and you can just cut these up if you want and serve on the side. Let me just slice up one of these. See if we can get a pretty fan out of this. Okay. I'm not the garnisher extraordinaire, so let's see how I did. Just kind of spread it out a little bit. There's one. Let's get one on the other end, just to make it look even. I'm not cutting all the way through with this. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm just kind of cutting and leaving a little bit left by the stem, just so I can fan it out. And just put a little pressure. There we go. And that's it. And that is Mom's stuffed French toast for Mother's Day. Easy. This and a card, you're set. Trust me. So let's go ahead and try a little bit. I hate to break into it because it looks so pretty, but gotta do it. Oh, yum. It's still really hot, so the center's kind of oozing, but if you let it sit and cool a little bit, it'll set up much better. Okay, I'm definitely gonna need a spoon for this. A little bit more powdered sugar. Let's put a little berry on that plate. And that would be a breakfast that Mom would be proud that you made. Oh, it's still really, really hot. I hope I don't burn myself. It's like dessert for breakfast. It's really good. This and some nice brewed coffee. Yep, we'll be going shopping with Mom soon. Delicious. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you like this recipe. And if you'd like this or any other recipe, please, you can email JTV at www.jtv.tv. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on In the Kitchen with Lisa.